What's going on, everyone? Okay, so I'm just going to get straight into it. The question for today is intentions and passion enough to deliver the maximum results in the area that you want? Now, when I use that question, please use it to whatever's relevant. I'm going to give some examples and some different scenarios, but use it in the context of whether it be your business, whether it be your work, whether it be your finances, whether it be your relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean both platonic and romantic, yeah? But use it to how it sees fit for yourself. Now, just really quickly, let me get into it. I need to say this because so it's not misconstrued. This view, my view, is only one type of view. I don't say that it's the right view. I don't say it's the only view. There's loads of different perspectives that you can look at the same situation. So it's just a perspective. Anybody that knows me, watches my videos, knows that all I try to do is take a concept and see if we can turn it upside down and see if we can learn outside our reality. Because I feel like when you do learn outside your reality is where growth and magic happens. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to give a little example and things about intention and passion. And then what I'm going to then do is I'm going to explain why I'm doing this video. And I'm also going to say what I think as well. So that was the question. Hopefully you've answered it. It's yes or no. We all know what intentions are. We all know what passions are. Intentions like your reason to why you do something. Your passion is really about that burn, that desire, ultimately that reason to why you keep repeating stuff. Because obviously sometimes most of the time with our passion, it's something that we keep doing. Even when we're tired, we keep going. So now, had someone had asked me this 4 years ago, my answer would have been yes, of course. If you have intention, good intentions, and you have passion, of course that's that's magic. Like, you can't ask for nothing better, because actually a lot of people are in stuff and do stuff that are not passionate about it. So for me, I was like, of course. However, I look at things very different. Again, as I said, I look at different situations and the concepts, and I turn them upside down. I'll talk about what I think that you need shortly. But I'm going to give us a few examples. So, intention. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to plan something for your friend, your partner, your spouse, whatever it is, but you've planned something and you're like, okay, it's their birthday, it's their anniversary, it's something, but you're like, in your mind, you're like, you're doing this ultimately to show your care, your affection, your feelings, yeah? And you've told the person, or maybe surprise, whatever it is. But in your mind, you've created a vision of how it's going to be. You've been smiling the whole day as you've been preparing, as you've been wrapping, whatever. And it brings you so much joy because you're like, it's going to be like this and it's going to be this. And it's, you've built up a whole world of what it's going to be like. And who knows that 9 times out of 10 doesn't go that way. So whether it was a surprise, let's just say you don't know what the other person's doing. You could have spoke to them and they could have been like, oh, no, I've got nothing planned for today. But then they woke up and then they've made plans. It can happen. Or let's just say you've planned the day, they're at work, and you're like, don't be late. Don't be, make sure you come on time. And you've planned it. You've got dinner. You've got, maybe the bath set. You've got the mood, whatever. Something happens always, 9 times out of 10. And then guess what? The mood is now off because you're now like, you're fuming. You're like, look at this. Look what I did. It's now turned from what your intention was to give. Now it's, look what I did, the time I spent, what I wanted to show you. So now there's conflict. And often what happens when there's conflict meets conflict. And 9 times out of 10, it just spirals. Let me look at the other person. So the other person knew that this person was doing something for them. They knew that they needed to leave on time. They left. They even went to work 1 hour early, maybe even more than that. Didn't even have a lunch break. Maybe worked on their, or worked as they worked. And literally was smiling through the day because they had a vision of how this is going to be, and was like, oh my gosh, I just want that person to feel so appreciative. I want that person to know that I love them. And guess what? Something's happened. Work's happened, or traffic's happened. Something's happened. An emergency's happened. And then guess what? You know what you're going to walk into. Now, this is not for everybody. Please bear in mind, I asked the question, have you ever been? Yeah, but you can apply this to work. I hear kids all the time that, oh, that wasn't my intention. I wanted to come into school and I really didn't, I didn't want to make my parents get a phone call. Or I didn't, I wanted this year to be a good year. But as I said, conflict, when conflict is mixed with conflict, often that's all you do. You just literally, there's friction And before you know it, you're like, wait, this was not my intention. This is not what I started out to be. So that's why I say that's not enough. Passion. Often passion is the reason why we do what we're doing. And often sometimes we misconstrue what passion is because it's what we've been told. Here's the truth of it. Sometimes we're doing something and we're following it, or we're saying, you know, this is why I'm here. I've been called to do this. And you stay in an environment that ultimately, one, is not healthy. You're not growing. And you're not even meeting the impact, the aim that you desire. But yet still we're staying in it because we're saying we're passionate about it. But here's the truth of it. I've learned this. If your passion is, let's say it's young people, doesn't mean that you have to be in a school. It doesn't mean that you have to be in an organization. It doesn't mean that you, like in the context that you're in, it doesn't mean that that's what you must be in. If that's your true calling, that true calling will be there in loads of different contexts. This is really important. But I really believe there's a third and final component that really maximizes your results in anything, whether it be finances, business, work, relationships. It's about being informed. Now, here's why I say it's about being informed. Let's just say, for example, I'm good at maths. Someone wants help in maths, or they want their child to get help in maths. But because I'm informed in it, it's not my intention to go out because I'm good at maths and help people. Might be, but let's just say for me, it's not. And I help you. Why? Because I'm informed. Let's say for the example of my dad, he works around the construction. So in terms of building, plastering, a bit of plumbing, I've seen it. I've grown up in it. I've even done some of that stuff. Now, there's certain little things around the house I can do. Now, if my friend needed that help, I could extend that. That's definitely not my passion. That definitely was not my intention when I was young, being daddy's little girl. That wasn't, that really wasn't the intention. That I'm going to do this because I can help people in this field. Wasn't that. But I'm informed, so I can help you. Here's where I say, and I'm going to give you some more examples. In education, there's this thing right now that a buzzword, and I talk about buzzwords a lot, but trauma, that's a big word. I believe in it. I've suffered many trauma situations in my life, but I've heard and who's been to any training and you walk out and you hear most people go, well, that was a waste of time. Or people go to church and they go, well, I didn't get that message, or that pastor wasn't good. Like, you go in it with an intention of how you've envisioned it. And because it wasn't how you envisioned it, it was a waste of your time. But here's the truth of it. If you hear something once, you don't get better at it just because you heard it. You don't get better at it because it's just clicked and you've gone, okay, I know everything. Whatever you've been delivered is like 1%. It's like 1% off the tip of the iceberg. You get informed by you continuously grow and learn. Now, I had this question asked to me about 2 weeks ago, maybe about a week ago, actually. It was in sport, and the person said, what can you bring different? And my answers now to things are just so completely different to what they would have been years ago. And I said, okay, well, I've got good intentions. I'm passionate about the sport, but so is everybody else. And I was like, I've got passion. In fact, my passion is the most it's ever been. And in fact, it's growing. I didn't think that was possible, but it is. However, I'm informed. I don't just rely on one news article. I don't just rely on one report. I don't just rely on one training course. I make sure that in areas I want to get better at, I continuously grow and develop. And I'll give you an example in terms of relationships. A lot of times we want healthy relationships. We have a vision of what a loving relationship should look like. But who studies that? Because you're not given a manual. You don't get delivered that in a lesson. And even that I'm skeptical about, because sometimes when someone's delivering content, unless you are embodying that in your life, it's very hard to really get that across, what you're trying to deliver. So, in fact, in terms of relationship, who reads books about relationships? Who does courses on relationships? Who reads reports about relationships, about things that make up relationships? Who does that? But yet still we want good and healthy relationships. So it's important that we're thinking about how informed are we when we think about maximizing results. Now, I'm going to leave you with the reason why I've done this. This is a conversation that I've been having for the best part of the year, and why I really believe we need to be informed. There was 2 incidents. One happened I don't know when it happened, but I saw it last night. But one was 2 weeks ago on the news. A young guy, I think he was 17, 18, but he was sentenced for the murder that he had killed somebody. And he had gone to this knife workshop. I'm guessing he was referred for a knife awareness thing. And one thing led to another, and he killed the person either inside the venue or just outside. So he had a knife going to that venue, so did someone else. Now people was like so sad, but here's the truth of it. Someone actually said, like, how do you protect that? How do you stop that as a CEO of a company? Because you can write all the policies you want, but you can't dictate people's behavior. And I said, well, surely if you're informed, you understand that the referral process, these people might not be reformed. These individuals might not be reformed. So it is our job to make sure that there are practices. How do you have such an event and there's no wanding process? There's no searching process. How? Obviously, you can't stop things from happening outside. They could keep the knife somewhere else. But in terms of inside, how do you not have that? Again, being informed. Now, what I saw yesterday, and it really, really touched me, prompted me to do this video, because as I said, I've been thinking about this for so long, having so many conversations. A young player, 17, he used to play for Man City, got dropped. I don't know the ins and outs of it all, but all I do know is that he killed himself. 17. His life hasn't even started, but he felt like he had nowhere else to go. So I'm asking you guys, are you informed? How are you consistently growing in the areas to maximize your results? If you're a mentor, if you're a coach, if you're a leader, if you're an individual and want better relationships, whatever it is in the context, you want better finances, how informed are you in the areas that you want to maximize your results? And if you're having good results already, doesn't mean that they can't be better, because your intention and your passion may deliver results. But how informed are you? On that note, I'm going to leave you. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you one more time. Does your intentions and passions mean that your results are maximized? And if it's yes, great. I'm not here to change anybody. And if it's no, we've learned outside the reality.